Hawkman #2 by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch, and a veritable cadre of other people. It's part two in the story that Venditti is starting, exploring the history of Hawkman, exploring the new history, which is a sort of saying instead of him being reinvigorated, or whatever you say, reincarnated, he's actually, all that is to say, reincarnated over and over again. He's reincarnated over time, not just to say reincarnated, period. This was a lot of storyline right here in this issue. Wasn't a lot of action. He actually did, I mean, sorry for spoilers, if so, you can turn it off right now. He did go back in time in this issue. Hawkman himself did. He went from a museum where he was chatting with his buddy Simon to going back in time accidentally to battling with Khufu Mat Qatar, which is actually himself, I believe. We have not seen Shaira yet, Hawkgirl, Hawkwoman, whatever you want to call her. We have not seen a straight-up enemy, but we did find out that kind of maybe he might be the enemy if we didn't know any better, because the large statue of a bird, like Birdman or whatever you want to say, well, we're not talking about Hanna-Barbera's Birdman, it might be him, basically. It's a good issue. I really liked seeing Brian Hitch's wonderful artwork again. I actually shot him a message on Twitter the other day, and he replied. He's a good dude, a good, nice man. I believe he's British. It was funny, too, because a day or two later, he was swearing up a storm and being, I don't know, like kind of obstinate or having some sort of an anger issue with somebody or with something. I don't know. They all seem to do that these days. Patch Zurcher, whoever else, they all seem to Asperger out, whatever you want to say. They'll just trip. They'll just blow up out of nowhere, and it's like, come on, guys. I don't know. I'm not here to judge somebody, but that sucks, is all I can say. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Same as anybody else, guys. Well, Mr. Hitch did not do that with myself. He was exceptionally polite and good guy. I had asked him, how come they... my question was, how come they get a really great artist on the first issue or two or three? And like, because I was noticing on this one, I don't know if he's doing the next issue, but he did do the first two, thankfully, but... And why they don't keep the same artist, basically, at this point, like they used to back in the day. And his answer was, they put a good artist on it to help it bump the sales and so on. If the sales stay good, they'll keep them, so on and so forth. Other than that, they're going to kind of do what they can. But it always bothers me on that note, because the writer stays the same. You should probably have the artist stay the same. You should do what Valiant does and have 3 artists attached to it. First storyline by one, second storyline by the next, third storyline by the next, so you don't have too much on the plate for the guy, and they actually get the stories all set up in advance, so that then they can get everything figured out and not have any problem, not have any filler issues by filler artists. Basically they'll have everything set up, and then by the third story, or the fourth storyline, excuse me, they'll rotate and have that first person come back. By the fifth, they'll have the second person come back, whatnot. But basically, I'm going to give this one high marks and say this was a good issue, and if you like the first one, you should go check it out. Give it a 7.5 out of 10. Go back to your comic store and pick up Hawkman #2.